This week on the podcast, it is just us boys. Green and I have some interesting tech pickups that we think you should check out, and we're going to talk all about them and what we like about them. And then we have to answer the simple question: is Ubisoft stealing your games? The answer probably won't surprise you. And of course, we've got deals of the week. All of that and more in this week's episode of the podcast. Roll the intro. Nice. Nice.
Where's the scats?
We're running on flat tires today, boys.
Hello and welcome to... Oh, go
This
ahead.
is my weekly scat intake, okay?
I'm sorry. I've got fusion jazz for you today, and that's all I can muster.
He says his weekly scat intake with a shit-eating grin.
Don't make it weird.
I'm going to make it fucking weird.
Green?
Yes.
Hello and welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I'm your host, Danie K. With me, as always, the wonderful, the beautiful, the Mr. Green Elite. Green, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing okay. I'm tired. I just started a new job this week, and I'm feeling it. It's been a busy couple of weeks. I'm still working on, throwing stuff on TikTok, getting editing done. For Arcana, and just vibing and thriving, I guess.
Hell yeah. We're vibing, we're thriving. We're also joined by the spooky and the ookly, the Mendacii. Mendacii, how you doing today?
I'm in my awesome Nightmare on Elm Street tank top. It is hot as balls in Iowa. Shut up, Green. This is my cat, and I love you guys. I wish I was playing Remnant 2 right now. I'm excited to talk about it next week.
Oh, wow. Doesn't want to talk about tech with us on the show. Wow.
I mean, I'll flutter my eyelashes at you and nod in agreement, and I will go through all of my active listening steps, and I will offer phenomenal questions so we can get some good, solid reviews out. But I'm also real. I keep it real.
Awesome. Well, thanks for watching and listening to the show. Be sure to stick around until the end of the show to hear about some awesome deals we found for you this week. Of course, if you miss any part of the show, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. Of course, if you want to join us live, you can typically find that every week on Twitch at every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Do we just want to jump right into the keyboard review that you got for us, Green?
Sure, why not?
Yo,
Hell
this
yeah.
thing's sharp. This
Yeah,
thing
it
is
is
sharp
clean.
as hell.
It's so clean. So yeah, I picked up a Drop Alt. You can check that out on drop.com. Drop Alt mechanical keyboard. It's a 65% keyboard. I got this a while ago in April. Finally getting around to it. But it is a 65% mechanical keyboard. Big thing about this, it is a hot swappable keyboard, which opens up a big avenue of what you can do with this keyboard. It comes with 5 different options for switches. Right now, I think the it's Hua switches. I never know how to pronounce that. The Speed Silver option is not available right now. It's out of stock for the Speed Silvers. But it does come with the Halo Clear and Halo True. Both of those are a drop specific, they're the drop brand switches. The Kahua Box White, and then the Cherry MX Brown. Without even getting into everything else, the Halo True switches were very nice when coming out of the box. I did switch them up, but I'll talk more about that later. It is a full aluminum keyboard with an RGB strip on the ends, all the way around the casing, and of course RGB lighting for the switches themselves, which I don't usually go for. I'm not much of an RGB person. Other people, I get it, cool. One of the great features about this is that it does have it's USB Type-C, and it is available. You can plug the USB port either on the left or the right side. It's interchangeable, which is fantastic, phenomenal. Instead of just being slapped on either one side or the middle. You have options for that. Another great thing is that uh, it comes with a set of feet if you want to increase the top height. They are magnetic as well, so they just pop on. It's probably my favorite feature of the board itself, other than it being hot swappable. So that's what the drop alt is. Right now it is on sale for $119. Usually costs 200. I picked mine up for 159. So the price fluctuates, so just keep an eye out for that. So like if you're interested in the new keyboard right now, now is the best time to get the drop alt, because this is the cheapest I've seen it. Um, with like all the options of like you know the Halo Trues, the Cherry MXs, like it doesn't affect the price on like which Switch you initially come out of the box with. The Halo Trues that it comes with are tactile 60 gram switches, so they're pretty light in terms of like pressing them. I was very impressed with those switches. I actually plan on switching them into my Glorious keyboard, that I'm currently using as my work keyboard, just because it felt great. It feels like they feel really tactile, clicky. They're not the quietest switches. The whole reason I switched them out is because they're not silent switches. I run silent switches for only one purpose only, and that's so they don't get picked up by my microphone. That's it. So um, the original ones wouldn't work, but the new ones that I have are actually really good. As for the board itself, fantastic board. I haven't had any issues with it so far. I love that you can switch between USB-C on the left and the right. The RGB, the only thing that I have like negative I could say is that like the RGB doesn't save after you switch them. So like let's say you turn off your computer or you unplug the keyboard, it doesn't go back to the um, RGB setting that you had previously. It goes automatically back to Rainbow Puke. The only way you can change that is through a firmware update, which ain't nobody got time for that. Um, but if that's something that you want to do, feel free to do it. I find it just as easy to press the function button and um, you know the D button a few times. Excuse me. Um, Again, I like the feet. I like that the feet that it comes with are magnetic. It is like the perfect ride height. I don't need a wrist pad because it's not like super elevating. So like that's not necessary. The keycaps that it came with are great. They feel good. They feel quality. Don't I have not noticed any imperfections with either the lettering or the casing themselves of the keycaps. Um, Again, switches were phenomenal. Not much I can really say about this board, other than like it's a great one to get into if you're like trying to upgrade from like let's say like a bare bones glorious or like an Amazon basics like a Royal Kludge or something like that. This is a good upgrade from that. It feels heavy. It feels sturdy. A lot of RGB if you're a big fan of RGB. Biggest pro is the hot swappable function, so you can pick up any switch that you want as long as it's a cherry base switch. So if you like Gaterons, you can throw Gaterons in there. Kahua. I picked up Silent Alpacas, which I'll talk about here in a second. A lot of people really like the Boba Gum switches; those are great too. Um, so you can swap out if you're not sure like what switch you are like into. You can always buy like a sample pack and then like put it on a hot swappable keyboard so you can just try them out. And then each switch, of course, has their own like different feel and sound. That is all personal preference. So, um, if you want to like get into like the whole mechanical keyboard, uh, uh like customization and stuff like this is not a bad keyboard to go to, especially at $120 for a price range. Um, you can always pick up something cheaper, but if you want something that's a quality built, Drop is the way to go. As for Drop itself, Drop is fantastic. They do have like a subscription program where you can get like exclusive drops and stuff like that, like group buys and stuff like that. If you're part of that community, I'm not in that because I'm not going to replace my keyboard every month. I can't feasibly do that. Some people do, and it's like sneakerheads. Sneakerheads buy a new pair of shoes every month. Some people buy keyboards every month. But yeah, its Drop is great. I have no complaints. Keyboard's great. You do have the option for customization, as I said before, especially with the hot swappable. I picked up a custom, custom coiled cable. Has like a GX plug on it. I picked it up on Amazon. It was $25, called Tez Cables. Really quality. It feels custom. It feels like no one's like someone hand built it because I'm pretty sure it is. Um, it's all black and coiled, which feels great. Looks great. Nice and long, and I can, if I ever need to, I can just unplug it by the aviator port. Which I don't find practical, but it just looks cool. So you might as well have it, And then, as I said before, I also picked up Silent Alpaca switches. I got those from Prime Keyboards, primekb.com. I bought 70 for $55. These are pre-lubed switches. They're linears, super quiet. Probably the quietest switches I've ever used. I'm coming off of Cherry Silent Pinks, and then going to the Silent Alpacas. They're quieter than even the Cherry Pinks, which is saying something. That's like the gold standard for silent switches is Cherry Pinks. They come pre-lubed, cheap, affordable for 70. Like I've seen like V2s and stuff like that from Silent, like the Silent V2s are like almost double that price, and these are quieter. The only thing that I didn't switch out is the space bar. I still have that as one of the Halo Trues, just because even with the silent switch, um, it was not super quiet. But also it was a little bit softer of a click than I liked because it is a very like hair trigger switch. So I kept it with the Halo True on the space bar, just because I want a little bit of like pushback on my space bar. I don't know why. That's just how I feel. But yeah, it's great switches. Would recommend them enough. I couldn't recommend them enough. Um, yeah. Any questions about the keyboard itself or Drop, Dachi, anything?
Yeah. Is a 65% keyboard just the perfect size?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that I prefer the 60% keyboard or over the 65%. Mainly when I'm typing, because I've noticed that I hit like it's got like the delete, home button, page up, page down, and then the arrow keys on the far right. And I've noticed this a lot of times. I'll hit the enter, like try to hit the enter key, and sometimes I'll hit like the up arrow or page down, page up, and it messes with me enough to where like I'll type something out in like a Twitch chat
Mhm.
and accidentally delete the whole thing that I just typed because I
Mm.
pressed the wrong button instead of pressing enter. And it drives me nuts. But I mean, it just takes getting used to, especially since I was on like a 60% before. So those buttons weren't there, so I didn't have to worry about them. I do
Right.
like that it has like the arrow keys, which is great. Instead of having to like press the function button and like figure out which one's the arrow keys, that's great. But you know, it is a pain going from 60 to 65.
Right. Yeah, like right now, like I've got this EVGA and it's rainbow puke unless I tell it not to be. And like it is just so so damn long. But like it's
I
what
have a
I
s-
know.
I have a I have my glorious right here, and it's just like maybe an inch longer
Mhm.
than the glorious compact, like the compact version one. I know there's like a new pro out now. I don't know the size of that one, but yeah, for an extra inch of taking up space, I think it's worth it having those extra buttons. Unless you don't like having something that big, I guess, but it beats having a full size keyboard. Or even a 10 keyless, it beats that in my opinion. Um, Especially since I like having like open space on my desk. So like a full size keyboard, I can't stand full size keyboards. They're just too much, and I always like end up running into them with my mouse when I'm trying to like play a game. So like a smaller keyboard's where it's at, in my opinion,
Yeah.
personally.
I think you've got me sold. I might have to go and look at this because there's just too damn much on this keyboard. I just don't think it's wholly necessary. And like the 10 key's nice, but like you don't need it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, unless you're playing something like all the time that is like has uh a lot of key mapping. Like I
Mhm.
know Star Citizen, like
Right.
almost the whole keyboard is mapped to something. Even like the number pad is mapped to something.
It's
So if you're
ridiculous.
like into those like big sims that have like a whole bunch of key mapping,
Mhm.
sure, get a full size kit. I mean, drop has full sizes. If you like drop, if you like still want a hot swappable drop product, there's bigger keyboards on drop. They're a little bit pricier, but I mean that's because you're getting a bigger board. Um,
Right.
I mean, you can always look at other options too, but like, I think this is a good middle ground between affordability, especially right now at $120, versus like the quality that you get. Right,
Mhm.
you can buy 60% keyboards that are like they're like a one-off, like one-time only group buy that are like $300-400, and they're custom aluminum casing, PCB mounted, switches, stuff like that. All that fancy stuff that has like the extra weight and stuff to it. Like you can have the back plates that are weighted, and brass and gold that no one's ever going to see, right? And, or you could get the drop hole for $120. Get the same sturdiness. You get your rainbow puke if you like rainbow puke, and it's hot swappable. You can switch everything out. Um, yeah, I would definitely say it's like on par, like a little bit more quality than my glorious compact. Like, don't get me wrong, I love that keyboard. Great starter mechanical keyboard, in my opinion. I think this just like amps up that quality a little bit more, especially with those magnetic feet, which like I'm still blown away by how cool those are. I got them in, I opened the package, I'm like, wow, and I just snapped them on, right? Um, but yeah, I definitely think it's worth the price, especially right now, $120, if you want to get a higher quality keyboard.
Yeah.
If that's something that you're interested in, it's been piquing your interest for a while. As I said, Drop has other keyboards as well. They even have like the group buy stuff that you can check out. They even have like it's not hot swappable, but they do have Lord of the Rings set, which are pretty cool, pretty rad. If you do those, try to get them in the Halo Trues. In my opinion, I think those are the best switches that they have. Um, but I mean, again, it's all about what you want to pay for.
Yeah.
Danny, I know you have questions.
I think you've covered pretty much everything for me. Like I'm still running this Logitech like wireless like Walmart special here. That I've been running for a couple years now. So I know I am due for an upgrade.
If you want to stay wireless, I think you should get the Ducky 1.3.
Yeah, wireless is a big thing for me right now, especially as well, I'll talk about this in the bit of review that I got coming here in a second, but I'm trying to really keep all of my stuff super clean because I don't know my exact setup in the future at any given point right now, right? Like I don't know the space or the desk I'm going to be on. So I really want to minimize the amount of stuff I have on my desks, like cables. So I might have to take a look at the Ducky then.
Well, there's two keyboards that I really like. I was like teetering on getting as well, and that was the Ducky 1.3 Mini. The only thing I don't like about that is like I don't like the case itself.
Yeah.
I think it's a little gaudy. A lot of people like it. Cool. If it's your thing, sweet. But then there was I think it's the Annie 2 Pro. Yeah. Annie 2 Pro wireless keyboard. I've heard a lot of people say that that's a fantastic a keyboard, including a good friend of mine.
Right there, you're such a good friend.
His name is Maddie. I always call him Maddie now. I don't I don't play with him on Steam anymore. We don't play games much with Maddie. You know him.
Why you ain't call him anymore?
Why can't I think of his profile name?
That's okay.
I don't remember now.
If he's listening, he knows who you're talking about, and that's all that matters.
Maddie, pouring my heart out for you.
Oh, actually, I do have one good question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that bugs me about a lot of tech. You can probably see it in the right light here on my keyboard. I know you probably can't, but the audience can. And that is like glossy plastic and matte plastic, certain types of matte plastic really get smudgy. Have you noticed anything with this particular keyboard? Like, does it get smudgy on the edges? Because that drives me insane. Like, this is something I'm supposed to be touching all the time, and it looks filthy because it just picks up my fingerprints.
I'm gonna say no, simply for the fact that it is a metal case.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not plastic. You don't have the option to smudge it. The one thing that I do run into is dog hair because I have an army of pugs at my disposal. I did pick up this cleaning kit thing at on Amazon as well. During Prime Day. Oh shit! It has like a keycap puller. It's got like this little wedge thing. Like it pops out like a bristle brush thing. I can just take the keys off and wipe off, which is pretty neat. Comes with like a spray thing for like cleaning screens and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And I also picked up a electric air duster.
Yeah.
Because like, man, I used to like not clean between my keycaps on my Glorious, and I pulled the keycaps off, and it was fucking disgusting. So, let's just leave it at that. It's fucking disgusting. So yeah, it's definitely worth picking up something like that too, like clean under your keycaps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like for smudging, no, not really.
No. Excellent. That's really the only question I had.
I mean, unless you like, eat at your desk and you like have like a super greasy burger and like then you like finger fuck your keys in the midst of eating your Wendy's Baconator Supreme quadruple T-Rex burger,
Yeah, and you ask Wendy's for extra mayo, which means you're gonna get a whole jar of mayo.
Oh, it's absolutely a whole jar of mayo.
Yeah. No, I don't think I have anything else. Mendacii, you have any other questions?
No, I'm currently looking at their keyboards right now, and they also have also on sale the Drop Alt high profile mechanical keyboard, which is usually $230, and it's on sale for $129. So definitely take Mr. Green's review and act quickly, because it looks like they've sold between those two almost 30,000 units while it's been on their site. And free returns.
Do you guys want to hear about this portable monitor that I bought?
Of course. Tell me all about it, baby.
Oh,
boy.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to preface this with why did I buy this? And I think the reason why I was looking for something like this is kind of important because that kind of informs you what this product is really for. And that is, since I have moved and since I have started traveling with my fiance, I have come to the realization that I need another monitor. I tried to work with just one monitor for a while and it sucks. I was so used to having 2 monitors that my productivity just tanked when I didn't have it. And I was thinking about getting some sort of ultra wide. And I kind of realized that the real estate of my current setup really wasn't going to accommodate that all that well. It was going to require some extra stuff in terms of space and whatnot. It just wasn't going to work. And so I decided to get a portable monitor. I had seen some people talk about them. I actually had a coworker use one for his at work setup, and it just seemed to be a really good idea. So I found this MAGICRAVEN 16-inch portable monitor. So talking about the specs first, it's 16 inches. It's a 1920 by 1200 display, so it's a little bit more than the 16:9 aspect ratio, and it was a 60 hertz refresh rate with HDR. It's got 4 I/O ports, 3 USB Type-Cs for power and display. They're all full functional. So if you want to plug like an Android device into it or something like that, you can use this with like an Android device. And there's a single HDMI in. It weighs just like over a pound and a half. Like it's really light. It's VESA mountable as well as being magnetic. And I'll talk about the magnetic bit in a second, because the case is something to talk about. When I opened it, it came with 3 cables: HDMI, 1 USB-A to USB-C, and a USB-C to USB-C. It came with a power adapter and then this faux leather like magnetic detachable case that just kind of wraps. It just wraps around it. And I'm really happy with the packaging it came in. All the cables feel really nice. Like, they don't feel cheap or shitty. They all came. The other nice thing that like an added touch that I wasn't fully expecting was that they came with cable management ties, so you can just wrap it up and keep it all nice and tidy together. That wasn't something I would have expected with this, but it's nice that they did that. So that's a plus in the column there. I've had this I've had this probably for about 2 weeks now. I've used it with my desktop. I'm actually using it with my desktop right now. It's actually the screen that I keep OBS on. So if you guys see me keep it like looking down, that's that's why I'm doing that. So I've used it on my desktop. I've used it with my Switch, or I should say our Switch, not my Switch. And I've used it with my work laptop. My work laptop is, I think, a 15-inch screen, 14.5-inch screen, so not very large. So adding this to like my work laptop setup at home has been fantastic. I actually carry it like from my office. I'll take it out to the living room. It like travels like across rooms really well. It fits in my backpack really well. It's really nice. So what I'll do is like I'll be either here if I'm in my office working on my day job. I typically won't have it set up. I'll just have my desktop for playing YouTube or music or whatever, and then my work laptop. As soon as I'm done with work, I shut it down. I pull this out, put it in my second screen, and start doing whatever I want to do. If I'm either gaming or working on stuff for VRCana or Next to Nothing, anything like that, I now have like that second screen for it. What's been really nice is I've used a couple different a couple different power sources, power supplies. This takes pretty much anything. I saw one review. I was actually concerned. An Amazon review said that, the supplied adapter didn't work for me. I'm like, okay, I really hope that's not the case, that like this thing actually, that it provides enough juice. I have not had a problem giving this thing enough juice to operate. It even works off of the USB output of a laptop. When I'm in the living room area, it helps me out with my productivity. I really only used it for the Switch one time. I played a little bit of Mario Kart on it, Diablo 2, Mortal Kombat 11, and watched some Demon Slayer with it. In terms of the Switch, it's pretty crisp and clear. Its playback is good. It doesn't stutter or artifact in any way that ruins the experience. I don't think I've noticed any of it really. The only area that it did make apparent that the Switch struggles with MK11, and I'm sure Mendacii could probably talk about this, where if you're playing MK11 on the Switch, it's pretty blurry a lot around the edges.
You're not going to want to play online.
Yeah. So that was really the only thing, but that's a Switch issue, not really a monitor issue here. It just made it very apparent that was a thing. The monitor does come with speakers, and they aren't really that great. They're loud enough to hear. They're loud enough to hear, but you might want to get a speaker or headphones when using this thing. It actually does have I forgot to mention, it does have a 3.5 out. But yeah, so you're gonna want like a speaker or some headphones if you're in an area that has like a noisy AC or just a lot of ambient noises. One other thing I was concerned about was viewing angles. I have had no problems viewing this from pretty much any angle. It looks great from top down, bottom, side to side. Actually a lot better than my Chromebook's screen in that regard. I have a shitty Asus Chromebook that I use for writing notes and stuff like that, or taking on the road or whatever else, and it just doesn't it doesn't have a great screen. So I was pleasantly surprised. I was expecting something almost on par with that, but this is a lot better. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, so I'm really just going to break this next section down into like what I like, what I don't like, and who is this for. So what I like works with pretty much any power supply that I've tried. That's fantastic. It's super convenient and light. No problem taking it into like different rooms, throwing it in my bag. It's fantastic. It looks great. It does actually have a really good display. HDR is decent. It's bright. It just looks fantastic. Would I use this if I was like a graphic designer as like my primary display? Probably not. If I'm doing color grading for video, I probably wouldn't use this as my primary. But for gaming or for just like putting up a spreadsheet or something like that on a second screen, fantastic. What I don't like, the faux leather case is a little finicky and honestly kind of floppy. And you can kind of see actually in this video right here, the section right there, you can see that the back portion of it doesn't want to stick properly. And that is really annoying. It doesn't really like affect the like overall usage of it, but it is really annoying and something that just bugs me. Like I said, speakers aren't great. You're gonna want something else to maybe enhance that if this is like your if you are using this as like a primary display of some kind. Definitely gonna want some other speakers. So one thing that I had written down, and I'm going to kind of still mention this here, is the controls aren't super well labeled because the bezels are so thin. I actually thought that maybe there wasn't any control notes at all, like this button does this button does that, but it is apparently just on the back of the screen. But still, they're not very well labeled. There's not anything. I would at least like some sort of divot or bump on like the power button so I know if I'm touching that, because I accidentally turned this monitor off a couple different times trying to, fuck with the settings. So you're going to fumble with the power button, especially if you have it in an alternate orientation like I do. So who should be looking at buying this? My first thought for anyone who would be interested in something like this really should be if you live in a dorm or you are frequently moving or don't have like a lot of space. Like, leave this setup on a desk, pair it with a dock for a laptop and a gaming console of your choice, and you have a really clean, usable space. Really perfect for, you just hit the HDMI switcher, and all of a sudden you went from your work laptop or your school laptop to your PlayStation. You're gaming with the boys. I think if you're someone who travels a lot, especially for work, or maybe you just have, you're just moving from place to place a lot and don't know exactly what kind of space you're going to have, this works really well. It pairs really well with most Windows laptops. And it's light and it works really great. So if you are someone who doesn't know exactly what kind of situation you're going to be in, 3 months down the road and you need a new display, this could be that for you. Like I said, I wouldn't use this as a primary monitor for a desktop or laptop. I would use it kind of as an accessory to your existing setup, but I would say this is good enough to work with, good enough to be a primary display for something like a PlayStation or your Switch, if you have limited space and don't want to have like a whole monitor TV setup, like in a dorm room or something. I picked this up as a Prime Day deal for $90, so $40 off. It usually retails for $130 American. I've been very happy with it. Despite my few minor complaints, I think if you're looking to get this, my other recommendation would be getting a tablet stand or finding some other way to get the cover to be a little bit more stiff and less floppy. Those are my suggestions for that. Do you guys have questions?
Only one. Did you say whether or not it was touchscreen?
It is not touchscreen, no.
Okay. It looks like it's something that would be touchscreen.
Yeah, and I think some of the monitors that I did look at were, but this one in particular is not. And they have a couple. MAGICRAVEN has a couple different styles. You can get like a 14.5 4K. They have a 16 2.5K at 120 hertz. They have this one, and then they have a 17.3 inch 4K 60 hertz.
I guess everything is touchscreen if you try hard enough. I mean, it's single use touchscreen, but like,
yeah, you can really touch it for sure.
That one, boom, yeah,
boom,
boom. Put your fist through it. It is like solid enough. I actually don't feel like at any point in time like I would break this thing, but I also would be a little bit more careful with it than if you put it in your bag, make sure that you don't set something else heavy on top of it, because I can't imagine that it would cause some issues and potentially bust this. But in everyday walking and moving, I don't think you're gonna break it, but just be careful in a bag. If you put it in the laptop slot in your backpack and then set something on top of that, I can imagine it would actually cause problems. But that kind of goes with a lot of devices.
Yeah. Common sense is going to be your greatest investment when it comes to anything with a screen.
Yeah. No, like I said, I have very minor complaints. Everything has worked well for me. I was pleasantly, mildly surprised about they actually even gave some wraps and stuff on it. I think this was a pretty good purchase for my use case. It's not a purchase for everybody, but it's a purchase for some people. Yeah. Anything else? Or do we want to get on to the hard-hitting question of, is Ubisoft stealing your video games?
Ubisoft may or may not be stealing your video games.
Yeah, they're absolutely stealing your shit. And I don't think I have any questions, Danny. I think you covered everything for me.
Let's just talk about Ubisoft stealing your video games, which I forgot to and I'm gonna admit it's a little misleading for me to say that.
Let's just get right into the sexual harassment in the room, okay?
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like you don't need to be omnipotent to realize that Ubisoft would like to sweep all of their wrongdoings under the rug and get you to pay for games while also stealing them from you.
Yeah. So really, this has been a question that's been floating around Twitter for a little bit, and really the last week or so. And it started when user at PC Enjoyer tweeted out an image of an email they received from Ubisoft that said that the account they had been inactive for some time, and claimed that they close your account if you haven't logged in, and if you do not log in or basically reinstate your account, that you lose all your games on PC, including if you bought them on Steam. That was the claims made by at PC Enjoyer. Ubisoft support replied back saying that you can avoid the account closure by logging into the email within 30 days of receiving the email. So, right, automatically, this is Ubisoft being anti-consumer and attempting to just steal back the games that you've already paid for, right? Right?
Yes.
Well, so here's the thing. In a statement to The Verge, this is what they had to say. Quote, "For many years now, we have implemented our account deletion process in compliance with the requirements for the GDPR. Our policies are aligned with legal requirements and with the standards of the industry. This means that this measure also acts as a protection for our players against fraud. Account deletion follows a very strict process. As such, we take into consideration the four following criteria before an account is deleted. The gaming activity of the account since its creation, the account's libraries account that include purchased PC games are not eligible for deletion. The duration of inactivity of the account, meaning that the last login to our ecosystem, including from Ubisoft games on Steam or other platforms. In practice, as of today, we have never, and this is actually just an addendum that they put in there. In practice, as of today, we have never deleted accounts that have been inactive for less than 4 years. And then the fourth one is the existence of an active subscription tied to the account. In any case, before deletion is permanent, 3 emails are sent to the player over a 30-day period offering to restore their account. In addition, if the user tries to log in during the 30-day window, they will automatically receive a warning and a link to reactivate their account." The Verge, in their piece, did notice a discrepancy between what the statement provided and the terms actually on their website. So there's really this lingering question of then, why was this particular customer sent an email if they were so allegedly ineligible for account deletion? I don't know. And I'm not going to lie and say that this particular person would be entirely unbiased in what they did and did not show on Twitter. They are, and I am not entirely against their position of being, wholly DRM, anti-DRM, but they are. It seems like their whole gimmick is to be explicitly DRM, anti-DRM, and anti-big publisher. Again, not saying that they're necessarily wrong, but I'm also pointing out a very obvious bias that this person might have, in which they may want to create some sort of drama around the situation. I don't know necessarily why they would have been deemed eligible for account deletion if they had games on Steam. I don't know necessarily, and I would love to see an actual case where this has happened, where you have just been warned that an account could be deleted. All you have to do is log in. Is that anti-consumer? I would argue that them keeping their servers hygienic from inactive accounts is not necessarily anti-consumer if they are not deleting people who do not meet their criteria. But provide demonstrable evidence that an account has been deleted that was, according to their own policies, ineligible, then we can have that conversation. It really seems like this is, and I don't want to defend Ubisoft, but it really feels like there's a lot of people who are trying to create a situation in which the situation does not exist. That's my sense here, where the evidence isn't being shown that this person was actually ineligible, or that the account in question was ineligible. The person in question who started these rumors seems to have clout on the mind because they got very mad that Legacy Killer HD took got sent the DM and then posted it and said, "Holy shit, what is Ubisoft doing?" Because then the PC enjoyer went and actually bitched about it in Legacy Killer's replies. So I would love to see actual demonstrable evidence that this was an account that wasn't supposed to be eligible for deletion and that Ubisoft was moving forward with deleting it anyways, right? That's what I want to see, because I like I said, I don't want to defend them, but I also want to make sure that people aren't just making bullshit up to get and crying wolf about anti-consumer behavior, because I feel like that might be happening here. What do you guys think?
Oh boy. Shall I go first, Mr. Green?
Absolutely. Go ahead, baby.
All right. So, I mean, obviously, I've kind of made it kind of a big statement that, like, usually I'm gonna go and be absolutely hyperbolic and throw all the Molotovs at big companies like this. But I do think that you're on the right track, Danny. I do think that this is somewhat blown out of proportion. I think that, however, we've covered a lot of stories, especially even just this year, and we're a little bit past the halfway point, but we've covered a lot of stories this year about game companies and hardware uh, companies such as Nintendo and PlayStation, Sony, taking away the ability for people to access their games that they have rightfully purchased. So I think that this is I'm going to call this less overreaction and simply just people are now acting on instinct based on experience. Um, and they more or less really wanted Ubisoft to change their mind if that was actually, if the overreaction was actually what Ubisoft was planning to do in the first place. Obviously, change. Sony somewhat did. They walked it back a little bit. Nintendo absolutely just tanked the DS, 3DS, eShop, all of that. All those games are gone. So it's just like you still get to hold on to your games, but you can never get them again. So I mean, like, this is adjacent, I would say. Um, there's, obviously games that require online play, like need to connect to a server that might be up running still. Um, yeah, it'd be wild for something like Ubisoft to do this when they're certainly not going to take off, like, the microtransactionary library that most of their games have. Like, why would you make it so someone couldn't play whatever and go back and be like, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna spend $30 on a horse skin in Assassin's Creed Odyssey or some dumb shit. Um, they're just they're very greedy. So I kind of thought it would be a little strange for them to kind of take away access from those games because I don't know, they kind of look at games as like the first step, but Ubisoft wants you to stay in that game and spend more money. So it kind of seemed a little fucky, if you will. Like when this story kind of first broke out for me, just kind of seemed a little out of character. They don't really care about their games; they care about the money that people spend in game. That's kind of been their modus operandi, if you will.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I
Sorry,
mean,
Yeah.
my mute button was
from
lost for a second.
from my perspective, I mean, it's it is Ubisoft. I've not been a fan of Ubisoft in quite some time since the previous bullshit. But the only thing I can really say is I really hope that they're not like I don't believe in deleting accounts that hold games just because like I'm still an avid believer that if you paid for that game, it's your game. Like yes, I get that it's a, you're
License.
buying a license to play the game, which is silly. But you know, gone are the days of physical copies. So um yeah, it's a fucky situation all around. Like I genuinely hope this is not the case where they're deleting accounts that shouldn't be deleted yet. Um but who's to say that they're not, you know? I wouldn't put it past them as the issue. I think at hand is I
Right.
wouldn't put it past Ubisoft to do something like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me the biggest thing is I want like actual evidence. Like show me like a screenshot of an account that like at one point had PC games on it and then you got the deletion email. Like that's what I want. Or like a receipt. Show me receipts. Not just a fucking like screenshot of an email, but show me like actual receipts.
But my follow-up statement, or I guess question, is who buys games from Ubisoft directly?
Right. Like as a
Yeah.
platform, like as a retail platform.
Who
I
uses
mean,
the-
well, what I'm saying though is so if if you are buying, because the big thing was like even if it's a Steam game, right?
Mhm.
That was like one of the things that they
Mhm.
mentioned. So show me your Steam game library. Show me the email account that's connected to that Steam account. Show me that you received an email to that email account that said that your account was going to be deleted. Because if the email account that it was sent to matches the email account of the Steam profile that has the Ubisoft games, then we know they're deleting something that they shouldn't be deleting and that they're going back on their policies. But we haven't
Right.
seen that. And that's like my kind of point of contention on I don't doubt it necessarily, but the source on this really seems like they want some sort of notoriety or they have some sort of axe to grind.
Right. Like little do we know, it could be that they found an email from someone who is like, "Yo, check this shit out. They're deleting my Ubisoft account I made back when I had an Xbox 360 and bought Assassin's Creed 2 Xbox activation key from the Ubisoft store, and I haven't played video games in 15 years. So
Yeah.
yeah, crazy. I don't get to play Assassin's Creed 2 now." But like it
Yeah. Or
maybe it's something like that. Like, if that actually does exist, it's gotta be something that's, like, fucking ancient dust bunny bullshit.
yeah. Or it could be someone who just has like started Brawlhalla or Trackmania,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, there you go.
Like those are free to play games that Ubisoft has that you probably need an Ubisoft account for,
Right,
right?
right. And
Like
now that, like, if they can sweep those people out, right? And I don't does it would how much room do you think that they actually need? Like, how much would that make for them as far as that goes? Like, sweep out all these people,
I
like
it probably has less to do with server space and hygiene and more to do
right.
with legal stuff. They probably are
Yeah.
not allowed to if someone is inactive, they are probably not allowed to keep customer data or information for a certain period of time. Actually, I think that's what they even said. Yeah, in requirements for the GDPR, which I think is a European thing.
Yeah, yeah, dude, that's a sticky situation.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to say it. I mean, like Ubisoft has to check as many boxes as they can if they don't want to get slapped with fines.
Yeah. So again, it's not that I want to defend them. I want more information. I don't want people to freak out over shit where the evidence for this has been so dubious that I'm like, where are the actual receipts? Like that's what I
Right.
want. I want some real receipts because I don't want to like get the pitchforks out before like we actually start talking about anti-consumer behavior.
Right, yeah. Dubious, duplicitous,
Yeah.
and just murky, foggy. Where the fuck is like the actual clarity in all of this? It's like when I think that when we were talking about doing this story, you sent like the 2 articles, and I was just like, Jesus, there's even more updates from the first time that I saw this like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's ridiculous, but I really do think that it's this sort of instinct that's now been built on credible experience that we've seen, where it just seems like, hey, isn't this kind of what Nintendo did? Isn't this kind of what Sony did? Yeah, it's very recent. Like I said, it's within the last year that we've seen a lot of these kinds of issues popping up with game companies, and there
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily seem to be a real reason for it. So, but they do it either way. Um, so we know that it's a thing. It's a thing that they do. So game preservation and all of that yada yada wouldn't put it past Ubisoft either way. But yeah, it just what a what a situation. They're thieves anyway. They're
Yeah.
What a
thieves. They're
time to be
cutthroats and
alive.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Fuck them all.
Do we want to go on ahead and talk about some deals of the week?
Of
Oh yeah.
course. Let's
All
just start
right.
this bad boy off.
I'll start this bad boy off with the at-home arcade game bundle
Ooh,
on Humble
it's good.
Bundle.
It's so good.
Yeah. Get Trail Out, Red Out 2, River City Girls, MK11 Ultimate, House of the Dead, Indiana Jones Pinball. Come on, guys. You know you
Come
want
on,
this.
Super good.
Come on, guys. It's $15 for 9 items. Pretty good deal. Link in the description. That'll be an affiliate link. If you want to use that link, it'll help out the show.
Transparency.
Transparency. You also get coupons too. You get coupons for River City Girls too,
Oh yeah,
which
and
is
Red Out too.
yeah, and Red Out, yeah. But yeah, there's some issues with River City Girls too right now, so maybe just like take your coupon and see if you can sit on it, wink.
So what do you guys got? Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. So this one is definitely worth the pickup in my opinion. It is the Batman Arkham Collection. It is on sale right now on Steam for until the 31st of July. So you have some time to do it. It is 85% off for the collection. Normally a $60 value is $8.99. Which includes you can also pick up games individually. It's Arkham Asylum, the Gotti version, Arkham City, the Gotti version, of course, um, Arkham Knight, and then the Arkham Knight Season Pass. Would recommend scooping that up. Like you might as well get all three of them if you know all four of them, including the Season Pass for $10, less than $10. But if you have like one or two of them, you can pick them up individually. Like Arkham Asylum 75%, Arkham City 75% off, Arkham Knight 80% off. So good pickup in my opinion. I picked it up. I actually just bought this because I very much enjoyed the Batman games. Insomniac,
They're pretty damn good, man.
Nice.
Rocksteady, yeah.
Rocksteady, and
And Bebop and the rest of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Crank's there
of
too.
course,
As for me, I have an awesome fanatical bundle, which is the platinum bundle. And just like Green, as soon as I found this, I absolutely snatched it up. There was actually a game on here that I've been looking at for a couple weeks now, and I was upset. I didn't know about it before, and that game is Solstice. So if you like character action games, if you like things that are, berserk like, guts, griefies, all that. And then obviously Devil May Cry, character action. You just smash that together. That's Solstice. I'm very excited to play that. I also, with this bundle, I did the 3 for 9.99. They also have 5 for 14.99 and a 7 for 19.99. My 3 that I picked were Solstice Battle Axe, which is a golden axe like side-scrolling arcade game. If you're old as balls like me, you remember that. It's a good time. I'm super excited about it. And the third one I grabbed was Them's Fightin' Herds, which is a really, really fun animal fighting game. Hilarious and super good. So really, really excited about that. And the fact that I spent less than $10 for this, I saved, let's see here, 40, 70, 90. I spent $10 and I got $90 worth of games. So do not pass this up. It has 8 days left as of today, Tuesday, the 25th. And that is on Fanatical. That is the Platinum Collection. And the link is down below with the other two.
Hell yeah. I think that does it for the show this week then.
Yeah.
Sure.
Really, tell the folks out there what you got coming up.
I'm gonna go eat food because I'm hungry. I don't know. Since I started a new job, I don't know how my schedule is gonna look. I'm currently, as if you can tell from last week versus this week, I've changed camera angles because I got a green screen that doesn't quite fit correctly. So I don't know if I'll be doing anything other than maintaining the next nothing TikTok that I've been putting effort into. Hopefully Instagram will be rolling soon. But yeah, other than that, just been vibing and thriving. Been playing Valorant. It's terrible. Terrible. It's terrible, but I want to be I'm bad at it, so I continue to try to be better at it because that's how I am. If I am live, twitch.tv/Mr. Elite. You can also catch me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and TNN for the next nothing TikTok, and then Mr. Elite for my TikTok. So check it out.
Hell yeah. Mendacii, what do you got coming up?
I have recessed into my shell. I have stepped away from social media. I'm waiting for there to be something worth talking about. But I think that I won't have to wait too long because next week I'll be doing a review for Remnant 2, which I love that series either way. I'm super excited. I've just gotten into the tutorial, and I've got a full week to play and build a review. So I'm really excited to bring that to the show next week. Shortly after that, we're gonna have Baldur's Gate 3. I'll be checking that out and getting a review in on that. And the hits just kind of keep rolling this summer. So it's been a really great summer for gaming and for gaming reviews. So if you want to know more about all these new games coming out, what we think about them after we get our hands on them and get an honest review with time put in, definitely come back and check out the show. That's where you're going to find me primarily. Otherwise, maybe I'll shoot a tweet out into the flaming void at only Mendacii. But otherwise, updates are going to be right here, Next to Nothing Network, for all of your gaming reviews, tech reviews, and shitty dad jokes.
Hell yeah. My life is going to be utter chaos for the next week. So if you guys want to check out my life, probably on Twitter, if I have the energy to talk about it, at Danie, DANIECAE. I have some support things that I have to do behind the scenes. I think we have an episode of VRCon coming this Saturday. Can I get a confirmation on that?
No. I'll check real quick. But what, did you do a bonus?
Well, we have one final episode from the last session.
It's up on scheduled for Saturday. I just got the finishing touches, and I have it going on time.
Sweet.
Working on it.
I think the only thing I need to do for that is the thumbnail. But yes, we have VRCon coming up this week. I have 2 bonus episodes that I recorded last week that I need to get edited. One that was just so incredibly fun with Quasar and Indy. I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. And there's some lore. And I also did one with Zombie Potion.
Lore.
Yeah.
Love lore.
Yeah. So that's what I've got coming up. Otherwise, thanks for watching and listening. That's the whole show for this week. If you guys like what we do, hit subscribe and ring that bell. That really does help us out a ton. Of course, if you want to let us know about anything that we talked about today, your thoughts, drop us a comment. We greatly appreciate that. If you miss any part of the show live, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere podcasts are found. Until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights, and we'll see you again next week. Maybe. Bye.
Peace.